Welcome back! 3 weeks ago, an announcement that almost no one witnessed. Moomoo, the fintech financial giant, enters the Canadian market. I wasn't that surprised, but what I was surprised about is the fact that almost no one talked about it, as if someone didn't want us to know it. Today you'll learn essential information related to Moomoo. You'll have more cards in hand to take your own decision whether you'll stay with your current platform or transfer your funds. The Canadian market faces several issues, as in many other industries, as telecommunications, banks, or energy. Canadians, do not have many alternatives on which tool to buy securities. Even though some platforms have begun to decrease their fees, many of them still charge up to $10 for each transaction, which is simply a back to the past. I guess Marty wouldn't be impressed of us. And let's not talk about the interfaces and the lack of functionalities provided. This makes me think that the industry is becoming outdated. The problem with the Canadian market is that when there isn't a lot of competition, institutions don't feel the pressure to change, to evolve. That's why I think the introduction of Moomoo in Canada may lead to higher competition in two ways. First, directly from Moomoo, cause there is another player, and two, as an entryway to other competitors to come from all over the world. And you know what? I especially look downward. There are so many platforms in the US providing low-fee services. We deserve better, and this video will go through Moomoo as a hot knife through butter. And at the end, I will offer you my personal verdict. Moomoo is the gathering of more than 20 million users globally reunited by their investing app, available in Canada at least, on Apple, Android, Mac, and Windows. At the moment I'm filming this video, Moomoo Canada allows ourselves to buy US and Chinese stocks. We can't buy Canadian stocks yet, unfortunately. However, while doing research, I rapidly understood that the platform doesn't stop to a classical experience centered on buying and selling stocks. Moomoo has three primary uses. It allows you first to achieve the basics, second to inquire about investing, and three, practice. First, it has some basic broker functionalities. You can buy, hold, and sell stocks and mutual funds extremely simply. Moomoo is more often seen as a trading app because of all the features it offers. A little like TradingView, you can customize charts, add all sorts of trends and patterns to conduct your technical analysis. Personally, being a long-term investor, I don't need all those functionalities, so it's only a great bonus. According to me, the interface is a good in-between between interactive brokers and WealthSimple. However, and I decide to mention it at the beginning to avoid you losing your time, I found two major limits bounded to who can use Moomoo and what type of account can be opened. It can be subject to change depending on when you listen, but currently Moomoo accounts are only available to Canadians living in Ontario and British Columbia. So just there, they literally exclude me because I'm right now living in Quebec. Yeah. Give me an Oscar, please. Besides, for the moment, only individual margin accounts can be opened, thus meaning that all registered accounts aren't compatible with the app currently. RRSPs, TFSAs, RRSPs, and you know all the story. But don't be scared of the margin account. It doesn't imply you need absolutely to invest on margin by borrowing money, but only that you have the possibility. In other words, it's a personal account with only the option of investing the institution's money at a certain cost. Don't worry. Please don't invest what you can't afford to lose. More classical, you have in addition access to the most popular order types as market order or limit order to establish a given price at which you want your transaction to be automatically conducted. So you don't need to be stuck to your computer screen all day and have my wonderful red eyes of content creator doing video editing all day. Now, Moomoo doesn't offer neither us to buy fraction shares or cryptocurrencies. It may be problematic if you aim to buy ballooning stocks as Tesla or higher priced securities as Berkshire Hathaway. When you're a billionaire, you don't need to split your shares. Second, it can be used as a financial analysis or trading app with extensive free data as free level 2 advanced market data. It's, simply the precise information summarizing the supply and demand for a stock, and that leads to the given price of it. Pages of fundamental analysis information and thousands of analyst ratings and financial news from major networks as Bloomberg, CNBC, hallelujah. I've even seen that in the US they offer a price forecasting a high to have an idea technically of possibilities in regard to future stock performance. Stay tuned, maybe it will be added or it's already done in Canada. And third, you can paper trade, which consists of simulating transactions to practice investing skills. Point to note here, it's especially useful for traders who can rapidly assess the worth of their transactions, whether they win or they lose. Okay, imagine if Warren Buffett had stayed on paper investing during 50 years. Compound effect would never have taken him to the peak. On the other side, Moomoo offers it for free, so you can willy-nilly go there if you want to. Here's a summary of the main pros and cons related to the use. Pros: intuitive experience, margin trading, responsiveness of the app, which is rather more subjective, paper trading, all in one app, you can train, learn, inform, apply. Now the cons: no fractional shares, no cryptocurrency, no registered accounts, and only available for British Columbia and Ontario. That's why I'm so sad. I would rather prefer a pricey platform that promises me security than a sketchy app offering cheap services. Moomoo has been founded in 2018 in California and is now a subsidiary of Futu, a Chinese holding company operating globally. Now, with the relationships between Canada and China being rather tempestuous and the extensive power of the government to collecting data even of private firms, we can ask ourselves whether it's legitimate. In a few words, yes regarding to our funds. They are protected up to $1 million, and let's see how and what it means. Simply, investment companies as Moomoo can also purchase insurance policies. We buy some for our health, our housing, our car. They primarily buy some to assure their validity in the market. Because Moomoo is a member of CIPF, we can rest assured that should there be solvency problems, we won't lose everything. Now, we all know insurance companies, there are always conditions. Fortunately, being of a more regulatory nature, they are less strict, and here are the main ones. Your account is solely used to trade or hold securities, commodities, and future contracts. You have an account with a protected firm. You're not a primary contributor of the firm's insolvency or who has power to control the firm. And by insolvency, we mean that the company is declared insolvent when court names a liquidator, a trustees in bankruptcy, or other official responsible of this matter. Furthermore, I've put my college cap right now. The coverage has limits. The amount in the account may be infinite, but the protection for all registered and non-registered accounts has a limit of $1 million. Evidently, if you bought Algonquin Power and Utilities shares at $20 and at the time of the bankruptcy of the brokerage firm, the price was only of $10, you'll only receive $10 per share. CIPF doesn't offer a protection over losses resulting from your decisions. Oh, Algonquin Power and Utilities, why have you done this to me? However, even if what happens in China seems to stay in China, whether the fact that Moomoo is in this country disturbs you is a really subjective question, so I'll discreetly avoid the question, but what concerns the fees is rather universal. We want to pay the least fees possible, and Moomoo's offer is honestly attractive. For US stocks and ETFs, we pay $1.99 minimum per order or less than 1 cent per share. Simply, it means that up to 200 shares, it will cost you around $1.99, and when you go higher, you're charged 1 cent per share, no matter the price of the stock. More in details, there is a 99 cents commission fee and a $1 platform fee. I conducted my research and I learned that the fee is in American dollars, so take it into notes if you're Canadian. In addition, as almost with every broker, there are trivial fees accounting to only a few cents for most individuals. An SEC fee of, I won't even try to say it in English, and a TAF of 0.000145 per share. These are fees from the US regulatory agencies and institutions. In what concerns conversion fees from Canadian dollars to US dollars, it is only of around 0.09% plus $2 for most investors. The plus is rather important. This is really more attractive than WealthSimple Basic, which charges a 1.5% fee. It means that for $1,000 you would pay around $2.90 on Moomoo and a heavy $15 on WealthSimple. Keep in mind, however, that the $2 is assuredly in USD. However, it's a double-edged sword. You have a fixed amount, so converting really small amounts is not always profitable. Next, for the margin rates, these are absurdly low on Moomoo at 8.83% currently, or the benchmark rate plus 3% for most investors. Finally, opening an account, closing one, deposits, withdrawals, inactivity, trade confirmations are all free. But oh hey, I found a little fee at the end. Look at this. ADR fees. These are only applicable to certain securities, more specifically American banks holding certificates of ownership of foreign companies to allow investors to not bother with the foreign currency and literally to be able to buy and sell the security even if not residing and having the currency of the foreign country. Here comes the verdict! Okay, so what does Moomoo have under its hood? What are my personal pros and cons? First pro, Moomoo offers to hold accounts in US dollars and the conversion fees are pretty reasonable. However, using a technique as Norbert Gambit on another platform to convert CAD to USD may be a way to avoid all the fees that, even if they are small, are still there, and the first con being the transaction fees. WealthSimple has no transaction fees. ThisNet has no transaction fees. Moomoo in the US has no transaction fees. So why do they charge us here? Because they've just expanded themselves, maybe it will come in the future. But it can't explain why they're in the US since 2018, and even there as in Canada, fractional shares, registered accounts, nay cryptocurrencies aren't compatible to Moomoo. On the other side, a well-balanced interface between professionalism and simplicity, the easy to set up accounts, the insurance on our funds, the absence of inactivity fees, and the fact that it's an all-in-one app are all pluses. And for the minuses, I'm sorry, but I'm a Quebecer and I can't even create an account. Canadian shares in Canadian dollars aren't buyable, and Chinese ownership may translate as an additional subjective risk component. So for me, it's raw salmon.
And Coop has delivered undercooked salmon.
But I do think Moomoo has a certain potential in Canada if they continue improving their app and add more options. Please, no bad puns. With options. Now that you've learned more about Moomoo, maybe this video about WealthSimple will interest you. With it, you have no transaction fees and you can buy the holy grail of Canadian stocks.